Hello and welcome to Parcast, where we discuss the master thespian Chris Parnell's filmography, one transformative performance at a time. I am your one and only host, Chris Ranta, and joining me is not Stefan who was fired, and now I've turned Sequel Decay into Parcast. This week, we're going to talk about Chris Parnell's fantastic delivery of the line, "It's Ebenezer Scrooge" from Hot. So Stefan, before we start the show, I think that we should read some of the fan mail we got yesterday.
Okay. We got fan mail?
We actually got fan
mail. I didn't
mail.
realize we did.
I cannot believe we actually have fan mail.
Wow, that's...
Like, we actually got responses on Twitter and
This
stuff.
is a momentous occasion.
We got a lot of emails, dude.
Yeah.
And I can only sift it down to the few that were actually really good and really interesting to hear.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read you off my favorites. Everyone who sent us fan mail and questions are being left anonymous.
Okay.
Hope you're ready. This first question...
Lay it on me. Do it.
This first question is the Patreon just a front to help cover Stefan's cocaine addiction?
Fuck, I thought it was really subtle, too.
Anyway, the next question is, which of your co-hosts do you find you have the most sexually Freudian dreams about?
Brandon, easy.
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah.
He just looks like my father, you know?
He's a soft boy.
Also, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
This one's specifically for me, but I guess we can both answer it.
Okay.
What's your favorite film of all time, and why is it Space Jam?
Just the raw sexual tension between Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan.
I mean, that is absolutely palpable. I love how Lola is just trying to break off that fuck beast that is Bugs and Mike. Why are your logos so terrible?
Oh, well, that's easy. It's because you designed them. Also, we have no money.
If I give $50 to the Patreon, can I really kill Chris Ranta?
I guess. You're down. You're down with that? We gotta give them what they want.
Fuck it. Yeah. What makes a sequel truly decay?
I think if you leave it out in the open for too long, like eventually the oxygen just kind of gets to it, and
it's kind of like cheese, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Once you start seeing mold on it, then you realize that you actually made Spider-Man 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then when you realize that it's all crusty, that's when you go, oh shit, that's Dark Phoenix.
Exactly.
Yeah. Since you guys are starting this one-offs bullshit, can you guys finally cover Gestapo's Last Orgy? I'm down, are you? I'm so fucking down.
Maybe let's get a guest host for that, and
oh, come on, join us. It's fun. I can get a copy. I know where to find a copy.
It's called Gestapo's Last Orgy.
And it's great.
No, it's not.
Is it true that Chris actually fucks a body pillow?
Shit, they're onto us.
Okay, well, let's get this fucking stupid fucking show on the road.
We're off!
We're doing it!
Again!
Yay!
For the 10th time!
It's our 10th episode of Sequel Decay!
Why have they let us go this long? I feel like there isn't much that should have taken priority over just shutting this garbage down right now.
I mean, that or shooting us.
I would honestly accept either one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to One-Offs, the sideshow of Sequel Decay, where we talk about things that don't fit our stupid fucking gimmick.
Yeah! Why do we restrict ourselves to a gimmick in the first place? God only knows. And Brandon Pollock. But
this week is a very special week for us because this is our 10th time recording this stupid show. In
a brand new venue as well.
In a brand new venue that, in fact, looks like where I want to retire. So this week, we are going to talk about a recent film that came out this year that we both saw, and a movie in which this recent film shares a similar basic premise and themes, kind of,
and protagonist.
It shares a very bare skeleton of this more recent film. And what films are these, Stefan?
Okay.
Tell the fucking world, Stefan! More! Tell them! Tell them!
You gotta let me, Chris.
No! Tell them!
I'll kill you.
I want you to! You fucking coward. I'll put some fucking effort into it.
So, today we're talking about the 2007 comedy classic Superbad and the 2019 release Booksmart. And there are some, like you mentioned, there are some like superficial similarities. Like, they're both R-rated teen comedies that feature teen characters that involve sex in some way. The main difference being that the main characters are different genders. In Superbad, the two main characters are played by Jonah Hill and Michael Cera, while in Booksmart, the two main characters are played by Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein.
Stop remaking my favorite movies with girls!
Why won't Olivia Wilde date me?
Why won't Paul Feig date me?
Superbad is directed by Greg Mottola. Booksmart is directed by Olivia Wilde.
Yeah. Mottola is also known for Adventureland.
Yep.
A super underappreciated and really poorly marketed at the time movie.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and he also directed a movie called Keeping It Up with the Johnsons, which is actually terrible.
A sterling resume. Booksmart is Olivia Wilde's debut, but her previous role that most people I think know her from is as 13 on House.
Yeah. She was also in Tron Legacy.
She was also in Tron Legacy. Her most well-known role is as 13 on House.
She was also in Life Itself, the Dan Fogelman shit show.
She was in that.
Jesus Christ, I really want to watch that.
Her most well-known role is as 13 in House.
Yeah, I'd argue that. She was also the blind date in Her.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Her most well-known role is as 13 in House.
She was in Year One.
Really?
I don't fucking remember her in Year One.
I don't remember Year One.
I remember it. And she made her acting debut in The Girl Next Door. Do you know what this movie's about?
Not really, no.
It's about a teenager who starts dating a porn star because she lives next door.
This sounds fucking awful. And morally reprehensible, too. I don't know what about it is morally reprehensible yet, but I'm sure it is.
I mean, it depends on how old Emil Hirsch's character is.
Oh, no.
I don't remember the movie very well.
Oh, no.
Because he is playing a teenager in this.
All right, well, we're going to talk about Superbad. This is already off the rails. Chris is choking to death. You alright?
When you're gonna say something like that, wait till after I've swallowed. Take that as any way
Hell
you want.
yeah.
So, Stefan, why don't you tell us about our first film, Superbad?
Dun, da, 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 da. Dun, da, 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 da.
That's the theme song for Superbad.
Nope. Superbad is a 2007 coming-of-age comedy directed by Greg Mottola.
Oh, is it ever a coming-of-age comedy?
Hell yeah. It's not the going I'm worried about.
It's the coming.
Folks, the humor in this movie is very subtle. It's directed by Greg Mottola and produced by Judd Apatow, but it's written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who originally wrote the first draft, I believe, when they were, 13?
About 13, yeah. You may also know Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's writing and or directing from This Is the End, Pineapple Express, The Interview.
Yeah.
God, remember The Interview?
Probably not. It's not that good.
You know, the movie that fuck you. I love that movie.
It's not that good.
Fuck you. I had a great time.
If it wasn't for the controversy around it, nobody would remember it. And Superbad also stars Jonah Hill and Michael Cera, as well as Seth Rogen, Bill Hader, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Emma Stone, and Martha McIsaac. Chris, what is your history with Superbad?
Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do have a history with this movie.
Oh, cool.
It was the first... When I was 10... Okay, this movie came out when I was like 10.
Yeah.
And I remember I really wanted to watch it. It looked really funny. This was around the time when my brother and I were starting to get into like Tenacious D and shit like that. Like, we were like, let's watch the edgy R-rated shit because there's swearing and stuff and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we heard about Superbad, and it just sounded like a lot of fun. I remember my parents watched it on TV, and by watched it, I mean they watched the first 5 minutes, and then they shut it off, and they were like, you fucking, there's no way in hell.
Yeah.
They also did this for Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, if anyone's asking. I can tell you exactly when my mom turned it off and said, there's no fucking way.
When was it?
When they're looking at the porn magazine.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was very
I'm
early
surprised she let you watch that long, honestly.
I'm a little surprised, too. So anyway, we were forbidden from watching Superbad. And then I watched it behind my parents' back at a friend's place a few days later.
Like you do.
Yeah, and I don't even think I got caught. But for some reason, they wouldn't let me watch that, but Tropic Thunder was okay.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz was okay. Shaun of the Dead was completely okay.
Yeah, well...
But Superbad was the issue. So it's one of those movies I have a long history with. I think we were finally allowed to watch it when I turned 13. Like, as soon as I turned 13, my parents were like, yeah, you can watch whatever the hell you want, I don't care.
I watched it for the first time sometime in junior high. I must have been like 13 or maybe 14.
That was my official first time, according to my folks.
Really?
Yeah, we marathoned. We did Superbad and Pineapple Express back to back, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because my buddy had a copy of that, and he also had Superbad, so we just watched those. Boy,
yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I watched Superbad, like I said, about in junior high.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of the funniest fucking things I'd ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't understand a lot of the nuance to it, obviously, because
You're 13.
My brain is still very much developing, and it still is to this day.
Yeah, no, I think we both have very rich-ish histories with this movie.
Rich-ish. This was also kind of my introduction to, like, the Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen kind of stuff that I was really into in junior high and high school.
Okay, you know what?
And I still am to an extent. Yeah.
You know what? You want to hear the most fucked up contradiction? I'm so sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
But now that you brought it up, this was not my first introduction to Judd Apatow.
What was your first?
The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. I'm not even kidding. My parents were like, those are fine. Superbad crosses the line.
You know what was mine?
What?
Funny People.
The first 90 minutes of that movie.
The first 90 minutes of that movie is great. It is so sad. But I think I was watching it with my parents, and they made me shut it off right when Adam Sandler is fucking that girl, and she asked him to make the mermaid noise. And then they made me shut it off. And then I watched the whole movie later, and it's like, well, the last 40 minutes are fucking awful, or whatever it was.
I think it's like it's almost the last hour.
Yeah.
Because I usually turn it off around the 90-minute mark as soon as he's cured.
Yeah, that goes on for way too fucking long.
Yeah.
And Superbad is a very, like, specific to its era film, which isn't to say that it's aged badly. It hasn't at all. But,
no, if anything, I think it's really kind of adapted to the times.
Yeah, I would say so, too.
If anything, I'd say this is a really, really good movie for now. And, like, 40-Year-Old Virgin, they're not, like, super-duper inappropriate movies, but I'd say, like, those movies are more for people that, I guess, either have that life experience or at least understand what that life experience is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the same can be said for Superbad to an extent, but I think 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up very, very much are. Like, those movies, I would honestly just say are straight up for adults, just because of that alone. But, for some reason, Superbad is just crossing the line.
Yeah. I watched Tropic Thunder, I think, with my parents when I was like 10 or 12.
I watched it with my dad and my uncle. Mm-hmm. We all loved it.
As you should. I should probably finish this plot summary.
Nah, fuck it.
No. Seth and Evan, played by Jonah Hill and Michael Cera respectively, are two high school guys who are about to go to different colleges and before they go to college, they want to lose their virginities to their respective crushes, who are Jules, played by Emma Stone, and Becca, played by Martha McIsaac. Mm-hmm. So with the help of their friend, Fogel, played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, this beautiful individual.
In fact, I have him on my t-shirt.
You do have him on your t-shirt.
I have the McLovin IT t-shirt.
He looks like a sex offender.
Very, very much so, especially on a t-shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm surprised no one's reported me for wearing the shirt.
Yeah. They set about on a plan to get girlfriends and whatnot. And if that sounds awful, like just terrible, it's because it very well could have been. Like, this is not a plot that would have been out of place in one of those like early 2000s, late 90s sex comedies like American Pie and whatnot. And yet, Superbad has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes and is widely considered a classic.
Yeah, I like I was saying to you before we start recording, I think this and Borat are probably going to be the two comedy classics of this century so far. At least of the last 20 years. Like, what other comedies came out? I mean, I guess 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Tropic Thunder.
I don't think that's really a classic, though.
You don't think so?
No, I hardly hear anyone talk about it anymore. I don't think I'd consider it a classic. Like, I still hear people talking about Superbad. Mm-hmm. I still hear people still quote Borat. Mm-hmm. They're still very, very, very popular movies.
This movie is based on experiences that writers Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg had when they were growing up in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And originally they were actually they wanted to play themselves in the movie, but by the 2000s, they were way too old to do that. Yeah. So they cast Jonah Hill and Michael Cera.
Yeah, no, because Michael Cera was known for Arrested Development, and Jonah Hill was like, he was an accepted, and I think he was slowly but surely kind of integrating into the Judd Apatow troupe at that point.
Yeah, he wasn't Knocked Up.
Yeah, because he wasn't Knocked Up. And now he's an Oscar nominee. Two-time Oscar nominee.
And a director.
Yes, mid-90s, which I still haven't seen.
He directed mid-90s, which is a really good movie. Hard to watch sometimes, but it's a really good movie. If you like slow burn coming-of-age dramas. But this one's like quite gritty, which I appreciate. It's not indie garbage.
Imagine Jonah Hill going up to A24 and going, "It's Superbad, but set in the mid-90s and gritty."
It's not that.
Gritty as in like the Philadelphia Flyers. No.
It's not that.
It's not that.
It's not a comedy.
It's better.
It's not a comedy.
Yeah, no, it didn't look like a comedy to me, but I'm just imagining Jonah Hill being like, "We have to manipulate A24 into giving us money. Let's do what they did with Adventureland and pretend it's a comedy."
Yeah. So I guess we can start with like the emotional core of the movie, which is the two leads.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Basically, this was this movie is the encapsulation of what their careers would be for a good long time. Because Michael Cera has never not really played Michael Cera.
Pretty much, yeah.
Jonah Hill was this version of Jonah Hill for a very long time until he started branching out into more dramatic stuff.
Yeah, especially with like Moneyball and stuff.
Moneyball and
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Basically, yeah, performance-wise, yeah, like Michael Cera kind of always has been Michael Cera. I think the only difference between then and now is that I think he started to embrace it now.
Yeah.
You know, like Jonah Hill at least branched out.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, he was nominated for 2 fucking Oscars. He's a wonderful actor, and apparently mid-90s was terrific.
Yeah, mid-90s is really good.
Yeah.
And they're great in this movie.
They're terrific in this movie.
They're so fucking good.
Because the script calls for people like that, so obviously it makes a lot of sense to cast Jonah Hill and Michael Cera for that.
Yeah. And I like last episode, I shit a lot on Ben Stein for being one note. And to an extent, I kind of think that Michael Cera is one note.
I think he is extremely one note. Like I said, the only difference between then and now is that he's a little more self-aware about it.
But he's still perfect for this movie.
Oh, he's absolutely perfect for this. Just like how Ben Stein was absolutely perfect for
No,
this
shut up!
Oh, I'm not saying he's a good person.
No, he's a shitty actor and he shouldn't have been in those movies and he can go fuck himself.
I think, yeah, that's the thing is, like, on one hand, he's really perfect for that one scene.
Nah. Cut him out of the movie. I don't miss him.
Look, I still find that scene funny.
Nope.
Looks like I'm not going to supper tonight.
I will die on this fucking hill.
Oh, no, I mean, I know you will die on this fucking hill, but can I finish?
Yeah, go for it.
Because as much as I like the 35 seconds he's in that movie, like, he's basically been playing the same character since, and also he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
So fuck that guy.
Michael Cera is not a terrible person. Michael Cera is an angel, and I want to cuddle him.
Besides them being really good, let's talk about their characters. Let's talk about Seth and let's talk about Evan.
I think they're played very well off of each other. They're great foils for each other. Because Seth, played by Jonah Hill, is very much a kid of his age in that era. He says awful, reprehensible shit. He uses a lot of very sexist and homophobic language.
Oh, yeah.
It's clearly a mask for his own insecurities. Mm-hmm. Like, that's very clearly illustrated. And there is a discussion to say about whether that justifies the rest. I don't know the answer. I'm not going to pretend to know the answer, so I'm not going to...
I'm not going to pretend I know the answer either. It's not like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are actually justifying his behavior.
No, I think they clearly show that it's insecure, bad behavior.
They show its insecurity. They always have Michael Cera's Evan going after Seth for a lot of the shit he's saying.
Yeah.
At no point do I feel like this movie is justifying or making us sympathize with Seth.
What you're supposed to sympathize with Jonah Hill is the feeling of being separated from your friend and having to be alone and dealing with the fact that it feels like he's leaving you behind. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to empathize with the fact that he is...
a pig.
A pig. He's just a trash fire. Although that is the source of a lot of the comedy. Yeah. So there is a discussion to be had. I'm not going to pretend I know the answer.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I know the answer to. I laughed a lot.
I did laugh a lot. So, but then on the other hand, you have Evan, played by Michael Cera, who, as you said, is the foil to him. He reflects how shitty Jonah Hill is being, because Jonah Hill is, at least the persona he's trying to portray is very self-absorbed and selfish and perpetually horny. Michael Cera might not know that comes from a place of insecurity, but he can at least point out how awful he is. Mm-hmm. because he's very kind. He worries about others.
Yeah.
He has a lot of consideration for Becca's feelings, and for when Fogel is being arrested, Seth is worried about getting the fuck out of there. Well, Michael Cera is worrying himself about if Fogel's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think in that sense, Jonah Hill could be seen as representing a sort of more toxic, insecure form of masculinity, while Michael Cera is more just good.
Yeah, he's a good person.
Yeah, just a good person.
He cares about others. He cares about everyone around him. He loves everyone around him.
Yeah.
And he calls out the shit when he has to.
Yeah.
He's never afraid to... He's loyal, but he's not too loyal. And, yeah, Seth is just kind of an asshole.
Yeah. But, like... I think we all had friends that were like that, and at that point, and maybe you were that kind of thing in high school. I wasn't.
Well, and that's no, I wasn't either. But that's why that doesn't bother me as much in this movie. Like, it doesn't bother me that Jonah Hill's character is such a fucking asshole because it's realistic.
Yeah,
this is what high school is. This movie, among others, but for sure this movie is pretty accurate to what people in high school are like.
Yeah.
They're shitty. They don't actually understand what's coming out of their mouths, or at least the impact it has.
Yeah.
They're pigs when it comes to talking about women. Like, I went to a high school where they had an off-campus, for lack of a better word, party, where they would make a makeshift stage and they would give out awards like Biggest Rack and Most Likely to be 40-Year-Old Virgin. So if anyone was to say to me, like, oh, Jonah Hill's character is so problematic because of the things he says, it's like, no, fuck you. This is exactly what high school kids are like.
Yeah.
Even after fucking Superbad came out, I'd say around the time we were starting to get woke. Yeah, because then fucking kids were still talking like that, and fucking kids were still acting like that.
Yeah.
Kids are going to act like that, and I'm sure... somewhere along the line, Jonah Hill's character is going to get older, and I'm sure he's going to grow up, and I'm sure he's going to understand that,
I'm sure he's going to be fucking embarrassed by
I'm sure he's going to be fucking embarrassed by half the shit he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, there's shit I fucking said in high school I'm embarrassed by.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure there's shit you've said in high school that you're embarrassed by.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me as much because it feels realistic. It feels like how kids actually talk in high school.
But actually, for me, it was mostly junior high that was like that.
Junior high was very much like that too, but I
think high school was when I started like kind of growing out of it, and a lot of the people I hung out with started growing out of it. But that wasn't everybody, and a lot of kids still talk like that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like my group of friends was like that, and I'm not even saying I was completely like that in high school. Because like if we were to really kind of narrow it down, like we were all like that in fucking junior high, especially when this movie came out. But yeah, like in fucking high school, it's like, yeah, my friends and I grew out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that everyone else around me didn't, because there was a lot of really stupid fucking kids in my school.
I also think it's clear that Seth and Evan's relationship kind of also represents the thematic core of the movie, which is one about friendship. And
it's about family. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Superbad, the platonic ideal.
Yes.
I don't know if it was necessarily the first one, but of these like coming of age sex comedies or whatever, it's one that distinguished itself by being a movie that has a thematic core about like opening yourself up to other people. I think
among other things.
But
yes, it's
about how it's okay to be vulnerable.
I would say that this movie is one of few sex comedies come out in the last 20 years that actually has subtext.
Yeah.
And I think that's what movies like American Pie and then a lot of the Superbad ripoffs like completely fucking missed. Is that, believe it or not, you need to have substance to go with your jokes, or else the jokes just fucking suck. Like, let's be fair here. If you basically had the exact same dialogue in a different script that was completely thematically void of any sort of actual meaning, the movie would suck.
Yeah, it would.
Like, the reason why this movie stands out so well is because it has so much to chew on substance-wise.
Yeah.
Like you said, the idea of opening yourself up and being vulnerable around other people, which also ties into the theme of toxic masculinity that this movie explores. We could also go into the theme of consent.
Yeah.
That this movie has a really, really strong perspective on.
Yeah.
And I think is really important for kids today to understand.
Oh, yeah.
It's sad that I'd recommend this movie to kids.
Yeah, the last third of this movie is basically about consent.
Oh, yeah, the last third of this movie is incredible because it's about consent. Yeah. And it talks about it in such a simplified, nuanced, and intelligent way. It doesn't feel like it's talking down to its audience. It doesn't feel like an after-school special. It feels natural.
Yeah.
It feels, again, simplifies that people can understand. But, I think it's a really smart movie for that.
Oh, yeah.
Again, what these fucking Superbad ripoffs, like Sex Drive or Extreme Movie, that's a real movie.
Was Extreme Movie based ripping off Superbad?
It was like an anthology thing. It came out when Superbad was at its peak. It
probably
came out around 2008.
It
probably did rip off Superbad. It also had Michael Cera in it.
Really?
Yep.
That's too bad.
I don't know if this is true. I'm sure somebody in the comments that we don't get will tell us. Will tell us if this is true. It seems like the kind of movie that was thrown on the shelf for a few years. I wouldn't be shocked if it was made in 2006. Yeah. And then Superbad came out and they were like, let's just capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I kind of gathered when I kind of heard about it. It kind of just felt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Cera's in it. So I feel like it was just one of those things that Michael Cera was like, sure, a paycheck.
Yeah. This Arrested Development money isn't going to last forever.
Yeah, and then the show ended.
Then the show started again. So yes, the Arrested Development money will last forever.
There's always money in the banana stand.
I love it.
These fucking ripoffs just don't understand, you need to make a smart movie. You need to make them, because that's the thing, is that I think audiences still want to be challenged. And I think that's why Superbad hit so hard, was because it was so smart. And it was so nuanced, and it was so clever at getting its subtext across. And then movies like Extreme Movie or Sex Drive aren't getting good reviews because, they're fucking voids.
Yeah.
That are literally there just so that, fucking Seth Green can show up as an Amish guy who knows how to fix a car and listen to Fall Out Boy.
I fucking hate movies.
Why the fuck do we cover them? God damn it, this movie is smart.
It's so good. I think I like it a little more every time I see it.
Oh, for sure. I was actually a little worried about rewatching it because I thought, something's not going to age well in this movie. It's everything aged well.
Yeah.
This, like I said, this and Borat, I think, are going to be the two comedy classics of the last 20 years. Let's talk about the cops.
Let's do it.
Nothing but respect for my boys in blue, officers Seth Rogen and Bill Hader.
The only two good cops. And only because they're completely open about how fucking awful they are.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. So at this point, Evan Goldberg was not an actor. Seth Rogen was.
Yeah.
And being that this was technically a Judd Apatow production, obviously Seth Rogen was going to be in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he plays Officer Michaels, and former Saturday Night Live star Bill Hader is Officer Slater, who are the dumbest piece of shit cops maybe in movie history, and consequently the most accurate depiction of cops in movie history. And they're fucking hilarious.
They are so funny.
Yeah.
They're so fucking funny.
They're kind of almost as if Jonah Hill's character never grows up.
Yeah, basically.
They're incredibly irresponsible drunkards with very warped views on women.
Every fucking time Bill Hader says my wife in the movie, I just go, how the fuck did Officer Slater get married? How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
What stupid fucking bitch would be like, he seems nice.
One of my favorite parts of the movie is when they're in the bar with Fogel. They're talking about how to meet women, and they actually start giving the only good advice they give in the movie, which is just meet her in a non-threatening public place.
Yeah,
which is a really fucking good idea. And Bill Hader's like, I met my wife at paintball. I shot her in the neck, and we've been happily married since. I met my first wife, who was a whore. That fucking killed me. But they're so awful.
I think my favorite part of that scene, actually, is when they're replaying the security footage of Fogel getting punched in the face in the liquor store at the bar so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
And they're all going, "You take a punch like a motherfucker." And then Bill Hader says it's bona fide badass. And then they give him the tape and Fogel's like, "Shouldn't this go to evidence?" Like, "Nah, you keep it. It's fine."
Another good line, and we'll stop recounting our favorite lines at some point, is when they're in the liquor store and they are very racistly asking the black cashier what the robber's ethnicity is.
Yeah.
And they're like, did he look like you or like us? And she's like, "Was he African? No, he was American, and he looked just like you." And Seth Rogen's like, "Oh, Jewish." So we've got a Jewish African.
I didn't say that. He looked like Eminem. Oh, like an M&M.
Yeah.
You just draw a circle with like the eyes and a smiley face. Is this roughly what he looked like? I'm an amateur here.
It just bears. We're gonna keep repeating ourselves, but they're really fucking funny.
There's not much else you can say because, like you had said earlier on before we started recording, or maybe you did say it earlier, I don't know, but they basically, like, they're kind of the escape from the main plot. Like, they are the most bonkers B plot that has nothing to do with the rest of the substance of this movie.
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
That's the only, like, I guess you could call it a textual, not really problem, but kind of quibble I have with it.
Yeah.
Is that you have the main plot of this movie, which has this beautiful theme about friendship and insecurity and consent, and then you have this cop storyline with Fogel / McLovin, and then the two cops, in which Fogel is almost rewarded for being an incredible asshole.
Well,
and it kind of runs counter to everything that Jonah Hill's character goes to, so it kind of ends up muddying, I think, that message of the movie, I think.
Yeah, like, I think to some extent it kind of ties back to the themes, at least, of competence.
Yeah.
Because the cops are only really doing this because they want to show McLovin or Fogel that, you know, cops can be fun too, and, you know, that, you know, they want him to understand, like, they empathize with his plight of being young and restricted by, you know, being young.
Yeah.
And that, you know, just because, you know, you grow up doesn't mean you can't have fun still. Now, obviously, I'm not excusing the cops in this movie because they're fucking terrible people.
And I'm not excusing the concept of cops. And I agree with everything you're saying. It's just that by the end, it's not like they've grown out of being incredible assholes.
No. And I'm not. And I'm not saying that they have.
They're like they're still toxic individuals.
Oh no, they're still toxic, childish morons. No, but I still think that point still does kind of tie to the main theme of the movie. You know, they want to give Fogel some kind of confidence, and they want to give him a good time because they could probably tell in that liquor store he was scared shitless.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm not excusing the cops or justifying their behavior because like they obviously haven't grown out of it, but obviously like it helps Fogel grow as a character, and I think that's what matters.
I guess you're right.
Like, because really at the end of the day, we don't care about the arc of the cops.
Yeah. Like,
if they tried to give the cops some kind of an arc, I think the movie would just get a little muddied.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I didn't write notes, guys. Can you tell?
I just wrote a lot of quotes. My only other real problem, I think, with the movie is that I think the female characters are really thin.
Yeah.
For as much good as this movie, I think, has to say about the theme of consent, really give a lot to the female characters. I think it's mostly the actresses who are carrying them.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
This is Emma Stone's first movie role, like her first feature role, and she's so good. She's really good. And again, she's kind of setting the tone for what Emma Stone characters would be for the next few years, at least until more recently.
Yeah.
And she's really good at
this. What do you mean? She's basically the same in The Favorite as she is in here.
I don't know about that. God, that's a good movie. So yeah, those characters are mostly carried by Emma Stone and Martha McIsaac, who is actually from Prince Edward Island. The characters themselves are there so that Seth and Evan can develop. And I think that was kind of a missed opportunity. Honestly, I get what you're saying, that like maybe it could, like, if they added too much, it could have muddied the waters, and Judd Apatow movies have a tendency to do that.
Okay, but I'm saying that more in the context of the cops.
Yeah.
Now, if they were to give Jules and Becca a little more, that would be completely fine.
Yeah,
because they are still important aspects of the protagonists' lives at this point.
Yeah.
And I think to develop them a little more as characters would be a little more interesting. Because, yeah, like, the whole thing when Becca's friend comes up to Evan and says, oh, she really wants to blow you, like, that just kind of feels out of the blue.
Yeah.
And I guess I can kind of understand why they don't flesh them out that much, because the movie is mostly told from Jonah Hill and Michael Cera's perspectives.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to get a little more development. I don't think it would have muddied the movie that much more.
They're both good characters. It's just like, what do you really know about them?
Exactly.
By the end of the movie?
They're just love interests.
I think it's especially because I watched this on the heels of Booksmart, which has such an empathetic supporting cast.
Oh yeah.
That I kind of was let down by, especially like not so much the supporting cast, because Fogel and the cops are great. It's just the female characters just feel really underdeveloped, which is kind of it was disappointing. Before we move on to Booksmart, I just wanted to point out my favorite line in the movie. Jules tells Jonah Hill, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And Jonah Hill replies in this very static, robotic reply, well, Jules, the funny thing about my back is that it's located on my cock. And then it's just silence before uncomfortable laughter.
Okay, I think 100% my favorite line in the movie is when Officer Michaels and Officer Slater are taking down the house party. And Officer Michaels goes, prepare to be fucked by the long dicks of the law. I assume you all have guns and crack. To a bunch of teenagers. I also really like the scene where Michael Cera is singing the Guess Who.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Stefan, would you recommend Superbad?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
I think it's aged really well. It's a wholehearted recommendation.
If Judd Apatow movies aren't your thing, or if you don't like Jonah Hill or Michael Cera, I don't see this being for you. But I think for the majority of you that haven't seen it yet, first of all, what? Yeah. Second of all, yes, absolutely watch it. It's so fucking good.
It's really good.
We're going to take a short break, and then we will move on to Booksmart.
Hell yeah.
Stay tuned for more Sequel Decay. All right, we're back. Welcome back to Sequel Decay.
It's been a time. It's been an experience.
Definitely been an experience. An IMAX experience, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay, Stefan, let's talk about Booksmart. A movie I saw twice and you saw once.
I saw it once. I saw it last Tuesday.
In fact, folks, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit.
We never do that.
I ended up going out with my partner. We were just like, you know what, fuck it, it's Tuesday. We're going to do Booksmart. Let's go see Booksmart together.
Yeah.
And I forgot that you were going to the same theater on Tuesday night, because we went to Princess because it's closer to us.
Yeah.
And so we walk in, I turn my eye, and there you are. And I went, oh boy, he thinks I'm a stalker.
I mean, if you hadn't noticed me, I just would have stared at the back of your head until you noticed me.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you notice me right away?
Yeah, oh yeah, I saw you guys come into the theater.
Like into the building, or?
Well, like me and Mikkel were seated like way at the back of the theater.
Yeah.
So like we had a pretty good. Everybody who was coming into the theater, we saw in the corner of our eyes. Mm-hmm. So like I saw you two pretty easily.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like we usually sit around the place where you sat.
Yeah.
I was like, let's leave them alone.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking it that it was better that we sat together.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a great movie, Comrade Ranta. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Booksmart?
Booksmart is a recent coming-of-age film directed by Olivia Wilde. This is actually her directorial debut. Mm-hmm. This was written by 4 people, and it's somehow coherent. Who knew? It stars Caitlin Dever, Beanie Feldstein, Jessica Williams, Will Forte, Lisa Kudrow, and Jason Sudeikis. Will Ferrell and Adam McKay are actually executive producers of this film as well. The film follows 2 high school graduates, or soon-to-be high school graduates, mm-hmm. who realize that all of their peers who treated them like crap over high school are going into the same colleges as them. So they decide that for, as high school's coming to a close, they're going to go out and party it up like there was no tomorrow. So, Stefan, what did you think of Booksmart?
I really loved Booksmart. Out of the 10 movies or so I've seen this year, this might be my favorite. It's either that or John Wick 3 for me. Catch that episode if you haven't, folks. But
who knew?
But yeah, I really love this movie, and we can talk more about why I do later. But Chris, what did you think about Booksmart?
Okay, so I've seen more movies than you have this year.
Probably.
I've seen probably closer to 20. I haven't actually updated my Letterboxd list at
Yeah.
all. It's definitely my top 5
Yeah.
of the year so far. Shyly beating out The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. It was great. It was really funny. I got to see this early because I got to see it in an advanced screening that our friend, the ghost of Chris Penwell, won tickets to.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
Couldn't win us one for Dark Phoenix. The fuck? But anyway.
I went in with relatively high expectations because I heard nothing but good things about this movie. It looked pretty funny. And boy, oh boy, was I right.
Yeah.
I had a great time with this movie.
Yeah. Spoilers for it, by the way.
Yeah, spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, because you should watch this movie.
Yeah, it's only made $20 million so far. Like, it only has a $6 million budget. So, I mean, they're still making money right now, but still. See the movie.
I think its theatrical run is just about over, but when it comes out on Blu-ray and possibly Netflix, like, watch the shit out of it, because it's really good.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, I think its theatrical run is done. It's
not showing in Edmonton anymore, at least.
Oh, really?
I checked, and, Princess stopped showing it last week. Shit. I'm pretty sure Cineplex stopped showing it in the middle of last week.
Of course they fucking did. I don't even think it made it. I think it made it season.
Yeah.
But
the Metro might be showing it at some point.
They'll probably show it later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for those of you Edmontonians who listen to our shitty show, when the Metro eventually plays it, go see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
This episode is brought to you by Metro Cinema.
Going into the movie, like, you watched it way before I did. I'd been hearing about it for a while, and I'd really wanted to see it for a while. But the way it was usually pitched to me was, it's like Superbad, but with girls. And from the outside looking in, it does look like that. It's two girls. It centers around a party, and the main two characters are two characters who, in some way or another, want to hook up with somebody and it's tied to a theme of friendship. When you go deeper than that, though, they're very different movies. Aside from that theme of friendship and characters holding each other back and needing to go their separate ways, aside from that, there's way more differences than there are similarities, I thought.
Oh, for sure, yeah. As far as comparing this movie to Superbad goes, the skeleton of it is similar. And I think that both this movie and Superbad, and I think this is the only thing I brought up in my Twitter thread as far as comparisons to Superbad go, is that both movies are really good at balancing vulgarity and sincerity.
Yeah.
Incredibly well. And that's clearly something that they must have gotten from Superbad.
Yeah.
Is at least they were able to, is that they got that balance really well, and both movies actually have substance. Aside from that, they're two completely different beasts.
Yeah.
And it feels redundant and pointless and stupid to compare both movies and be like, I like this one better because blah. Because, I have a really soft spot for Superbad, and I love it more every time I watch it, but, that shouldn't discount anything that Booksmart does.
No,
because it's a really good movie. And like I was saying to you before we even recorded, if we want to say that, if anyone was to accuse Booksmart of being a ripoff of Superbad, then
they're full of shit.
First of all, they're full of shit. Second of all, I think Sex Drive is more of a blatant ripoff of Superbad than this. Also, if we really want to have this fucking argument, do we want to say that, Superbad is a ripoff of American Graffiti and other teen sex comedies that came out before Superbad? Because we can fucking do it.
Yeah.
I can go back and be like, what if, if Superbad's or if Booksmart's a ripoff of Superbad, then Superbad's a ripoff of this, and then this is a ripoff of that, and the list goes on.
What do you think about it, though? Isn't Superbad really just a ripoff of the Maltese Falcon?
Actually, I thought it was more of a ripoff of Orson Welles' F for Fake.
Very deep.
#deep.
We're a very intelligent movie podcast.
Yeah, we're so intelligent because I brought up a movie that's in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's class, folks.
That's class. Nothing screams class like that sideways lowercase c you see right before a movie starts.
Anyway, do you want another Pilsner?
Fuck yeah. So, Stefan, Let's talk about the characters, shall we?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense since we started with Superbad talking about the two main characters. We should probably do the same here.
Sure.
And the two main characters are
Amy and Molly, played by Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, respectively.
Exactly.
I didn't even look at my notes, guys.
Good for you.
I don't have any.
I've had to stare at the Wikipedia page. So Amy, played by Caitlin Dever, is a artsy indie lesbian.
Yeah.
I think is a pretty not in a derogatory way. That's pretty much what she is.
Yeah.
With a very understated, kind of dry sense of humor, which I was in love with.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Molly is kind of more outgoing and abrasive, but more in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
And she has a lot, and she's played by Beanie Feldstein, and she she wants to be. She literally states at one point she wants to be a Supreme Court justice.
The youngest Supreme Court justice.
The youngest Supreme Court justice. She has a framed picture of Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her room.
As well as a framed picture of Michelle Obama.
Yeah, and of super aggressive motivational tracks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that track fucking slapped.
Yeah.
Fuck those losers.
Much like, I mean, they're very, very different characters than Jonah Hill or Michael Cera. Michael Cera's main character trait is that he was a foil to Jonah Hill. Because he could show a mirror to Jonah Hill's faults.
Yeah.
Of which there were many. And Molly also has faults in the sense that she's very pushy and aggressive and selfish in her own way.
Yeah.
Whereas Amy, while she is kind of snarky and more Michael Cera-ish in that sense, she doesn't have as much confidence and she doesn't stand up for herself as much.
Yeah. Which
becomes a major point later in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So right away, if you're trying to say that this movie is a ripoff, like, it falls apart there.
Yeah, no, like, there's... And also, who fucking cares if it's got similar aspects of Superbad?
Yeah.
Really. Like, I think it takes the best aspects of Superbad and does its own thing with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a completely valid thing to say.
Yeah. Anyway, these two characters, they have really fucking good chemistry.
Yeah.
They play off each other really well. Again, they're pretty good foils for each other.
Yeah.
I think they're much less confrontational with each other than Michael Cera or Jonah Hill are. I think they're a bit more sisterly, I guess would be the term, than Jonah Hill or Michael Cera were.
Yeah.
They're both really endearing characters, I think. For all the shit that Molly gets, she's a really fun character.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, they're realistic characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this movie is on the whole a little less on the absurd side than Superbad, which is not to say that it doesn't have its weird moments.
Yeah.
But it is a little more grounded.
Yeah.
I think. I especially really like Amy. I think Amy's my favorite character.
I think Amy's my favorite between the two, but
yeah.
I mean, I think both Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever just really throw so much into the characters,
mm-hmm.
and they just really bring them to life in such dynamic ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to kind of say beyond surface level. It's really hard to say, you know, Caitlin Dever's the Michael Cera type and Beanie Feldstein is the Jonah Hill type, because again, beyond surface level, that's not the fucking case at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, once you get to know these characters, you realize that's really just not the case at all.
Yeah. Another thing I kind of wanted to point out was, for fuck's sake, I really wish we could stop comparing it to Superbad.
Well, that's the thing, is we're not necessarily comparing it to Superbad in ways of like, hey, movie's made in Superman.
But one similarity actually does have with Superbad is that they're both, they both place a lot of value in empathy.
Yes.
I'd also like to reference another movie that came out last year, which is 8th Grade, which...
Terrific film.
Wonderful movie. Which also, like, is a very empathetic movie, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's towards a demographic that is not usually very empathetically viewed in movies, which is teenage girls.
Yeah.
Because teenage girls are almost always the butt of a joke.
They're either the butt of the joke or bitchy.
Yeah, and neither of those are very accurate, I think.
Yeah.
And even going aside from movies, like, people still make fucking Twilight jokes as if people are watching it because the main demographic was teenage girls.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And, like, God forbid they should like something stupid when they're, like, 10 or 12.
Exactly, yeah.
And teenagers in general is shit on, but teenage girls, I think, get it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of jokes about them having their phones out, which 8th Grade portrayed is not something that you make fun of them for. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah, it's just the way things are right now.
Yeah, it's not something to mock or deride them for.
In fact, every time you talk about Evangelion, I just throw in Candy Crush.
Eat shit. But but yeah, it's nice to see finally movies made that show this specific demographic off in a sympathetic light.
In an empathetic light,
light, yeah, absolutely.
Now, if there's one thing that this movie does better than Superbad, it's how it handles the supporting characters.
Oh, absolutely.
The supporting characters in this are so fucking good.
Yeah. And going back to what I was talking about 15 seconds ago with empathy, like, a lot of these characters are kind of jerks.
Some of them are, yeah.
Some of them are jerks. Some of them are kind of inconsiderate or dumb.
Some of them are fucking weird.
Yeah, and very weird. But they're all, even as weird as some of them are, they're all, I think, accurate, honest depictions of high schoolers.
Yeah.
Because they're, again, most movies tend to portray high schoolers as very one-note kind of jerk asses.
Yes.
And yeah, some of them are like that, but they're still people. Yeah. They have things going on. They're still figuring out their place in life.
Well, exactly.
Most grown-ups haven't figured that shit out yet. Why would we shit on teenagers for?
Well, yeah.
For that too? Even the characters that only appear for like one scene have a lot going on with them. No, well, not a lot going on with them. But they have something to them.
Yeah. Now, there is an exception. I think there is one exception. I feel like they really dropped the ball on George and Alan, like the two drama kids. Because those were the only two where I felt like they're just like, okay, they're just drama kids. There's really nothing else to their characters.
They were funny, though.
They were funny enough. Like, they were like the weakest link of the movie. And like the only reason why I wouldn't be like, this movie's perfect.
Yeah.
Is just because of them. Like, they're just kind of drama kid stereotypes, and that's it. Yeah. They don't really add a whole lot. They're not fleshed out that well. I mean, considering they flesh out pretty much every other character, I'm surprised they didn't bother to try to flesh them out a little more. No, but like, it would have been interesting to see a little more of their dynamic fleshed out. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it wasn't.
I was gonna go that route with another character.
Which one?
The girl that Amy hooks up with in the washroom.
Oh, Hope.
Hope.
Yeah, kind of, actually.
That Hope has 2 scenes before that.
Basically, yeah.
She says something snarky once, and she says something snarky to Molly afterward, and then she appears, and she's supposed to have like and I feel like she's supposed to be more established that she ends up being at that point.
Yeah, because I wonder if something was cut out.
Yeah, because at least we get a lot of screen time with Alan and George, or whatever the fuck their names are.
Yeah, but they do absolutely nothing with Alan and George in that screen time. Okay. That's why it's so egregious to me.
But they don't really build up Hope.
No, they really don't.
She just kind of comes out of nowhere, and we're kind of expected to know who she was, and it took me a while to remember who she was.
Yeah, it took me a little bit too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when they started hooking up, that's when I went, oh, that's who she is.
Yeah, exactly. And when Amy says, like, your whole personality is just being mean to people, or something along those lines, it's like, was it? Because it sounded like she was more snarky and a bit dismissive, but I didn't get...
Definitely cynical, but yeah, I didn't get mean.
Yeah, so I think maybe for her and Alan and George, there might be some deleted scenes that we're missing. Because I feel like we're missing some building blocks.
We're definitely missing building blocks with all of them. But I think everyone else is established enough.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think AAA probably would have been the villain in another movie of this kind.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But she doesn't appear a lot in this movie, but she gets a lot of good lines in it, and it kind of drives home the theme of, like, these are multidimensional people. They're not just idiot teenagers.
Exactly, they're human beings. They have problems just like the rest of us. They have strengths like the rest of us. They have things that they need to overcome like the rest of us. And I'm glad that this movie really did portray them in a really empathetic light.
I think my favorite supporting character was Gigi, though.
I see your Gigi and I raised you a Jared.
Oh, fuck. Okay, you talk about Jared first. I'll talk about Gigi.
So Jared is the second coming of Christ.
He is played by Skylar Gisondo.
And he is the second coming of Christ.
Okay, I'm not arguing with that.
Jared's just very weird. Mm-hmm. Jared's just a really strange guy. Like, he's the guy who has the weird meta t-shirt of him waving. And by the way, I think that shirt is on sale.
Really?
I think you can buy that shirt.
I'd probably wear that.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to look up a link right now to see if it actually is on sale. Yes, it is.
Perfect.
For $24, you can buy the Jared t-shirt.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I would think I'd get a headache if I looked at it too long, though.
But, like, I don't know why. He's just such an interesting character to me. One, because of like the payoff later on,
Yeah.
and also just what he says at Nick's party.
I mean, he's hilarious.
But he's absolutely hilarious. He's so fucking funny.
But he is like I knew that kid in high school too. Like not to that extent, but like just a kid who like really just wants to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the way he comes across, it kind of puts people off.
Yeah, he's kind of an off-putting people pleaser, and I know people like that too, or knew people like that. Yeah, hell, even to some extent, I kind of was. I don't know, like, as the film goes on and you get to know him more, he's such a lovely person.
Yeah, he's just a nice guy. He might be the most genuinely nice character in the movie.
Oh yeah, like, nice guys do finish last. Stanley Ipkiss was right, guys.
Why won't Olivia Wilde date me?
Jared is a great character, and he's just so much fun to watch, because one, he's absolutely hilarious. Fucking love that t-shirt. I just fucking love everything about him. I love that scene where Molly says, like she looks at all the gift bags. She's like, there's an iPad in here. You can't buy people's affection, right? Well, sure you can. My dad does it all the time. But I think what broke my heart the most was at the party, or at Nick's party, when he sits down and he looks at, I think it was Molly he looked at and asked, do people actually think that I had sex with a prostitute at 14?
Yeah.
And he just sounded so heartbroken and just distraught. Because, like, for further backstory, Jared comes from a very rich family. Mm-hmm. And there was a rumor going around earlier in the movie, that his dad bought him a prostitute at 14. Mm-hmm. I think just hearing how distraught he was, like, obviously the performance is great.
Skylar Gazondo is really good.
He's so good in this. But even, like, as in the script, just how well written that line is, and just how impactful that line is. It just really hits you like, oh shit, this is the power of rumors.
Yeah.
This is why high school fucking sucks.
Junior high was worse for me in that sense, but...
Junior high was really bad too. Like, junior high and high school are fucking atrocious.
My theory has always been that junior high is worse than high school, because in high school, I think everybody is kind of starting to form into the person they'll become. So they're at least a little more stable in the terms of being human beings.
That's how I feel about university. I feel like high school are still...
University, definitely more so. And I'm not saying high school is good. I'm just saying that you're starting to become the person who you will be, for better or for worse.
I think later on in high school, yeah.
Junior high is a fucking mess.
Yeah, junior high is a nightmare.
Because you have, like, literal children along with practical adults.
Yeah.
And they're all struggling to figure themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fucking nightmare.
Oh, fuck
I hated junior high.
Oh, fuck
I barely remember high school.
But, Stefan, why don't you tell us about your favorite character?
I love Gigi. Gigi's so fucking good. She's played by Billie Lourd, Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Oh, shit, that's actually Carrie Fisher's kid.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I didn't notice until I looked it up just now, but, like, yeah, that's Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Fuck. Yeah, that's Carrie Fisher's kid.
So Gigi is Jared's friend.
Yeah.
And she's... Okay, I mean, I just talked about how much depth there is to characters in this movie, and it's not untrue about Gigi, but her main character trait is that she's kind of a drug-fueled maniac.
Well, I think Jared gives Gigi a lot more depth at Nick's party when he talks about her.
Yeah, what does he say again? Because I've totally forgot, actually.
That she's loyal.
Yeah.
Like, she's a loyal and really good friend. I don't know the exact dialogue.
Yeah, and
Do you want me to record the movie in the theater, prick? No. And basically, yeah, like what Jared says is, like, she's a loyal friend. She's really nice. And she's always there for him.
Yeah, she's a genuinely good person. She's trying to help Amy and Molly along their way. She's kind of like I don't know, somebody who's kind of guiding them along the path to the next party in her own way. But, I mean, the only problem with that is that she's absolutely nuts. And she accidentally gives them drugs.
Yep.
And they freak out about it. So she's actively making things worse, but she's just a delight. And I love her so much.
She's so great.
And Billie Lourd is great in this.
Oh, she's terrific. Everyone is terrific in this movie.
Yeah, there's not a bad character in the bunch, I don't think. No. But I think Olivia Wilde is probably a good director.
Actually, she is. That was actually one thing I really wanted to talk about, was how visually interesting this movie is. As far as, like, directorial debuts go, like, it's not outstanding or anything, but I really like the way that she uses stop motion. I really like the shots of Amy in the pool, because those are beautifully shot. Like, there's this, like, giant sense of euphoria in those scenes, and I really loved it. It's like what Blue is the Warmest Color wanted to do with its sex scenes. Calling them out as we see them. Anyway, but yeah, and, like, there's moments like that are so beautifully crafted and so well done, and it's obviously, you know, like, there's parts of this movie that are a little static. But, I mean, it's a fucking teen comedy. I don't expect it to look half as good as this does most of the time, or have the vision that it has behind the camera. And I think Olivia Wilde did a great job with this.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that she didn't write it. I mean, I suppose she must have had input once shooting started, but it does feel like a movie that she put a lot of herself into.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I obviously don't know anything about Olivia Wilde personally, other than the fact that was in-house, but it feels like a very personal movie for anybody who was involved, really. Because
for sure.
I think you can find a little bit of yourself in this movie, like anybody could. And same with Superbad, but I think this movie is just a little more grounded, despite how absurd some of the scenes can get.
Well, yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of debate and controversy over the film's marketing and its subsequent box office results.
Which were not a bomb, but not good.
I mean, yeah, compared to everything else that was coming out, it wasn't good, but if the budget was actually $6 million, it did well.
Yeah.
It made its money back. But there's been a lot of debate because Olivia Wilde made a tweet where she said, like, we're getting creamed by the big dogs out there, like Aladdin or, you know, whatever other shitty summer movies were out at that point.
Yep. I would say The Avengers is a shitty summer movie, but regardless, the Russo brothers also tweeted, like, yeah, watch Avengers for the 8th time.
Yeah, like morons, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, God forbid we let other movies, you know, have a chance.
I liked Endgame. Booksmart is way better than Endgame.
Yes, and I like Endgame too. Don't get me wrong. We liked Endgame.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't need to go see it for the 10th fucking time in theaters.
Yeah.
Do you think that this movie was poorly marketed?
I barely saw any marketing for it, is the thing.
Yeah, I didn't see any. Like, that's the thing, is, like, neither of us have cable, so I mean, we were going to have to go exclusively through online stuff. And, like, I mostly went and saw this based on word of mouth.
I only saw it as soon as I did because you said it was good.
Fucking sheep. Can't wait to make him my sex fiend.
Oh boy, I got a good time in store, folks. But
You ever wanted to see a man's be used as lube?
What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay. I saw a couple trailers on YouTube, but I didn't really see anything beyond that, which is too bad because I feel like this is the kind of movie that could have gained a really big audience.
And I've heard a lot of people on Twitter say this, and I completely agree with them. Because most of the promotion I've seen for this movie is just people on Twitter saying, go see the movie. Yeah, but a lot of people on Twitter said this, and I do agree. I could see this being a cult film.
I think it's going to do really well.
I think it's going to do. It's
going
to do really. It's going to do really well on Netflix. It's going to do really well on video. I think this movie still has a life. It's just unfortunately not in theaters. And I think honestly it is because it wasn't marketed very well. Like, literally the only reason why I went and saw it was because of word of mouth. I could have said, fuck no, I'm not going to go see Booksmart for free. But I went because I genuinely wanted to, because I heard good things about it. Mm-hmm. I didn't go because the trailers enticed me. I went because of word of mouth.
Yeah.
I don't even think I really saw a trailer. I think I saw one, but I barely remembered it. I was like, this looks funny enough, I guess.
You know what? The only trailer I think I saw was when I saw the trailer before seeing the Grizzlies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, at the Princess, because they market whatever movies they're showing. Before we put this episode out of its misery, send it off to look at the rabbits. We pull up behind it with a cocked shotgun.
We make this reference almost every goddamn episode.
Yeah, but it almost always gets caught.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I like that I think these movies portray the fundamental anticlimax of being a teenager. Anticlimax is a good word considering the subject of these movies. Whereas, like, things never quite seem to work out the way you envision them. Like, I know my high school years definitely didn't end with as much of a literal or metaphorical bang as I thought they would.
Yeah, they just kind of end.
I think you end up learning a lot, not necessarily from school, but just from the experience of experiencing it.
You wind up where you need to be.
You end up where you need to be. And end up forming who you're going to be for the rest of your life, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And I think these movies nicely illustrate that.
Oh, for
In
sure.
Superbad, they do not get to sleep with their girlfriends, at least not in the as long as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
But they learn something about themselves in the process, and they learn a lesson on what is toxic behavior and what is good behavior and the value of being vulnerable towards other people. And in Booksmart, they also learn the value of a friendship and not to look down on people because everybody's going through their own shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good lesson for especially teenagers to remember, because no matter how fucked up you think somebody is in high school, the vast majority of the time it's because they're in high school and they're just figuring something out. Like, very, very few of the kids that you thought were shitty in high school are still probably shitty now.
Yeah.
Because they're still going through some stuff. I just remembered something about Superbad.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
I just want this episode to fucking end!
We'll end it very, very soon. But when Jonah Hill mentions how much he hates Becca because of that thing in elementary school where she caught him drawing dicks. I've seen this where, like, something that happens in elementary school can color your opinion of a person for, like, the entirety of your, like, school career with that person.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you remember them as that one person who did that thing in elementary school, even if they're a completely different person come high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's actually a really smart scene because of that. Because it illustrates how the mindset of a high schooler. It's like, well, I've known this person for this long, and I remember them for this specific event, so that's the person they are. And I think both these movies are valuable because they teach us that everybody's kind of going through their own shit.
Exactly.
Whether
or not it's visible. Everyone has their own insecurities. Everyone has their own issues. Everyone's got their own shit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to end on. What better way than to end a diatribe about anticlimaxes than with an anticlimax?
Great. Stefan, would you recommend Booksmart?
I would heavily recommend Booksmart. It's a great movie.
Fantastic. I, too, would recommend Booksmart, and I hope you check it out on video or streaming, or if a local theater is playing it, go see it. It's great. You also mentioned you wanted to do some high school movie recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a lot. I wrote this while you were talking. So
I probably do not have much.
Okay.
As much as you anyway. 8th Grade is really fucking good. And everybody should watch 8th Grade, because I think I probably like it more than either of these movies.
8th Grade is a phenomenal fucking movie. Again, Bo Burnham's directorial debut.
Mm-hmm.
The score in that movie, fuck.
Fantastic movie. Another one that comes to mind is Edge of 17, which I think you probably have more to say about anyway.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I do highly recommend it. It's on my list.
Yeah, I think it's a little less grounded than the other two in the sense that, like, the main character is a bit more idealized, I think.
Yeah, but I still think that she's still seen an empathetic life.
Oh, I think so too. It's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie.
I don't
know. Really underrated too.
This one just kind of came to mind, but Your Name.
Yeah.
Because it's another good movie about trying to see through other people's eyes, and that's probably one of my favorite animated movies. So,
mine's, I guess, a reminder that everyone's going through their own shit. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was written by Cameron Crowe and directed by Amy Heckerling. So if you're looking for films directed by women, I highly recommend that one. Also directed by Amy Heckerling is Clueless, which I'm sure everyone's seen, but we're just going to throw those out there because they're great fucking movies. Another coming-of-age movie featuring Beanie Feldstein is Lady Bird.
Oh yeah, Lady Bird is great.
Terrific film.
Yeah. And
I also have 8th Grade and The Edge of 17 on my list. I also have Dazed and Confused, Heathers, which is a really dark high school comedy.
I really want to see Heathers.
And the last one's one I watched recently. It's not a high school movie, but if you're looking for something about one fucking crazy-ass night, kind of like how Booksmart and Superbad are, I highly recommend Martin Scorsese's After Hours.
All right. Well, that does it for today, folks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to the first one-off episode.
Yep. We definitely want to do more of these in the future. We definitely have ideas.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of ideas, especially because we only have so much franchises we can go to.
Well, we only have so much patience with franchises.
Yeah, also that we need to break up the routine, especially because we're going to go like right into a big franchise sooner rather than later.
Oh, fuck, we are. We're going to be spending a month on a big franchise.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you look at the release schedules for movies coming out, you can kind of glean what it is.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's Fast and Furious.
Man, do you want to kill us? No way.
I think the franchise we're covering is bigger, like between all 3 iterations. 4, I guess.
Yeah, 4, I guess.
Yeah, it's like 10 films, I think, whereas Fast and Furious is only 9.
Mm-hmm.
But either way.
Yeah. Before we do that, we might have something special in store? I don't know.
Yeah, we might have bonus content?
Yeah, bonus content. Pre-Patreon bonus content.
Who knew?
Yeah.
We're going to be cock-teasing you guys with some bonus content, TM.
Yeah. I don't know when it's coming out. We're going to record it sometime this week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.